Good morning, everybody. As much as I wanted to look pretty for you today, I decided to be au naturel because I wish to talk about PMS here and periods and all that kind of girly stuff that I think needs to be talked about. Because I remember growing up and learning about things and feeling like why doesn't anyone just say these things so that we can just deal with it more normally. I don't like to say normal. I know I say normal, but I don't really believe in a normal because in truth, what is normal? It really depends on where you come from, right? So how can we define normal? The only thing I can say is normal is that we are all human, having a human experience. All right, point being, oh man, and I guess going through your ups and downs is completely normal. Depression is completely a lot of things that we go through and think we go through alone. Completely normal. Thinking that we go through it alone, completely normal. All right, so let's go through PMS. So, PMS, when I was younger, I hated knowing that my period time was coming. I hated knowing that I was a girl. Actually, when I was young, I really disliked being a girl. I was so upset because I was like, why wasn't I a boy? I felt like such a boy. I wanted to run around with my shirt off. I wanted to pee standing up. I wanted to play like the boys. I was totally not understanding why I was a boy. It was only and when I got a little older, because I loved wearing dresses, I really loved wearing dresses, I started to love being girly. I did love being a girl. But then finding out that girls get PMS, I was not stoked. Especially, I was lucky, I had an older sister, so I got to see her go through things before me, and I was not excited. It's funny because as a little girl, I mean, you don't want boobies because boobies are just like it. You know that when the boobie time comes, your life is different. It's hard because while I'm lucky, I know, I mean, consider what you consider luck. To me, it's lucky because I have less time I have to deal with it, hopefully, period, I mean, but is it lucky because how does menopause work out? Does it change anything about things? Is it harder for you and all that kind of stuff? What I mean by is I was around a lot of young girls in their 9-year-old, 10-year-olds that started getting boob pains and getting their periods already. I remember my friend, she was 9 when she first sat us all down together as a group, 9 years old, and told us that she had her period. And then I remember when I was 10, and one of my best friends at the time wrote me a note being like, "Dearest Ness, I think I had my period." And it's a big deal, you know, and we know it changes us. I'm pretty sure we consider it being a time when you start kind of entering adulthood, right? Your puberty. So puberty has a lot of hormones, tons of hormones that goes up and down. And I'm going to be honest, when I actually didn't learn this until the last 4 years, really, when my partner at the time was going through his MCATs. He was learning more about hormonal shifts for male and female. And he learned that there is actually a whole nother week before PMS, before the period, a whole nother week where there's an LH surge. And that is your hormones, girls' hormones. And I'm not trying to say that guys don't have hormones that have their surges as well and they don't go up. And I'm not trying to say that they don't have it and it doesn't affect them, because it does. But it's not as many as the female. And it's not, I'm not going to say much about boys because I don't really know. But I know that girls are affected because, okay, menstrual cycle. It used to be considered that our menstrual cycle was actually used to be called the moon cycle because it was very affected by the moon. In the old days that we consider primitive and uncivilized, even though very, very understanding spiritually, and we'll talk more about that as we go, they called it moon cycle because a woman would all kind of go through the cycle with the moon phases, and they would gather together and basically sit in do you know the yoga position where you have you're crouched with your feet up, your knees up, and you're bent like this. They kind of say that that's the position for people to go number 2 in, or, you know, do a lot of things in to majorly digest. There's actually a position too. They said that women would gather together and sit there and bleed together because while they may have used claws, most of them just bled out. They just let the blood just plop, plop, plop everywhere. So, good fertilizer, right? Yeah, it's gross and natural, and I mean, there's beauty in it, and still like, ooh. You know, the people eat placenta and stuff because of the stem cells, and, you know, whatever floats your boat. And I can't say because I am Chinese, and I do eat a lot of interesting things, which I love, and they taste better than you think, and yeah. Point being, So I wish everyone to know that this is how I consider it, and you don't have to consider it at all, but I have noticed that it totally is. I honestly think girls have 1 week, 1 week, a week to 10 days of normality. We have 1 week where we are fully ourselves, seeming like we're not affected by hormones, okay? Then I feel like we have the LH surge, which the LH surge is when all our hormones go. For me, how I know that my LH surge is coming is I actually have a very insecure moment. So normally I'm normal, I'm fine, and all of a sudden I have a huge insecure moment, and to me I'm like, oop, there's the sign, there's the sign. Also, I get a pimple. Sometimes, usually, I feel like vinegar. I feel like chocolate. I didn't used to have the chocolate one. I don't fully also either. There is because there's symptoms of it. And to me, I just know that's coming. I also get sorry if it's gross for people, but I also get a clear discharge. So for me, that's also when I know that it's coming. And then yeah, then we get our PMS, and then we get our period. And then we go back to normal and the cycle starts again. And I've been noticing that over the last 4 years that that is totally what happens. At the same time, I've noticed that you can also kind of control your period. So I know people that, when you're on the pill, when you're on whatever, and it's normal, natural all the time. I've also had times where I told myself that I didn't want it right now because there was like a special event coming up or something, and then it wouldn't come. Doesn't mean I don't get the symptoms. I still go through the symptoms, but I just don't get the period part. And that's understanding like when your body's through stress or whatever. But this is when you start understanding that we actually have so much control of ourselves. So we'll talk about that soon. My point being, though, I just wanted people to know that it's not just 1 week. It's actually 3 weeks of major ups and downs and of dealing with ourselves and trying to get to know ourselves. So one thing that I thought really, really helped was to allow myself to just go through it. I used to try to push through it. So when I started when I was a kid, I remember me and my sister, because me and my younger sister are closer in age than my older one. Me and my younger sister, because she started when she was younger than me, and I actually got mine. I was, like I said, I think I was 16 when I got mine. I remember going to the point where I was just like, I think I was 16, 17, and I just remember being like, maybe I'll never get mine. But I was really happy because I knew my sisters were going through it. Think about it. By that time, my younger sister had been going through it for 5 years already. Like, that's crazy. Okay, point being, she had it way worse than me. She would have symptoms of like she got the really bad cramping, the really bad headaches, the really bad everything, just pain all over. And while mine was painful, I obviously, like, we naturally compare in ways. I just didn't allow myself to think mine was bad because she had it way worse. And to be honest, I think mine is quite gentle in ways, though it got heavier as I got older, and now it's changed again since I've changed again recently. All right, so, and now I understand why, because I was squished in, like, on my whole right side. It makes sense. Everything is shorter. I'll talk about that soon, too. Like, my intestine was squished. Everything was squished. Okay. Point being, though, me and my sister, I remember, like, during summer or before work, we would lay on the ground and just, like, lie in the sun and try to, like hot water bottle. She used to take some of was it Aleve? There was a certain one just for PMS. I remember at the time. I used to just take Advil or aspirin, but it doesn't always work. And most times we don't like to take things, so you kind of just go through it, and it's a natural girl thing, and we're supposed to get it every month. So you try to see, which way can we help this best, because we don't want to be taking prescription medicine or pills or whatever for the rest of our lives dealing with this. Like, it's not the way. Obviously, we don't believe it's the way anyways. So I remember just laying in pain. And then I remember working and trying to work through it and watching all the girls always trying to work through their first day, second day, whatever day is their hardest, and just working through it and trying to be okay and like taking it on as if it's just a girl thing, like guys don't have to deal with it and we have to keep it out of society so they don't recognize that we're going through anything, and we have to try to be normal. And that's what we do about everything, wearing these masks. And yet it's something that affects us so much that it actually affects our moods, and it affects the way we are, and it affects people, and it affects situations and experiences. And these are the kinds of things that I feel like should be talked about and understood so that we can all have a better understanding of it, so that when there's reactions or actions or whatever, we can all have a better, clearer platform of how to just be chill about it, rather than being like, oh, you got mad at me, or I'm mad at you, and all this reaction. So I just think it's better if we understand things a bit more. So as I got older, I started taking that day off. I started taking that day, and I know it's not easy for everyone when you have a job, but if you know your schedule, you can always take time, or just be easy on yourself that day, or let people know, like, it's my first day. Like, you kind of go and be easy on it. For me, I just took the day off because I've worked a whole lot in my life. A lot of people might not know this about me, but I started working since I was before 10, but really solidly since I was 10, 11. And I worked full time for many of my young years. And it was when I got older that I started going into more passion projects, still full time though, very full time, but more passion. And only right now this is the first time I'm actually starting to take life truly, truly more for myself. And even doing that is hard because I'm healing a lot of people around me. Point being though, so I actually started to take those days off. I would sometimes go out. I used to be around boys all the time, all boys all the time, and they definitely have no understanding or sympathy for it, really. They just look at you and think you're crazy or you have stuff to deal with and you're being a girl. So whatever. A lot of them didn't even actually know I was going through it. Point being though, there is definitely a difference in what we feel. There is definitely insecurities that you're not, like, I actually, in truth, and I know it's not, and this is like the way society will accept, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I do believe that sometimes I think bipolar is diagnosed wrong, because I do believe that we don't understand periods enough. When we have periods, we literally have different personalities, and I'm not going to be shy about saying that. When I say we have different personalities, it doesn't mean we actually literally are different personalities in a split personality way. I mean, it's because our hormones affect us so much that it sends different messages to ourselves. And in those times, depending where we're at, the emotions that affect us make us choose to feed different thoughts. So when we are stable, when we are ourselves, we might choose more happy thoughts and more, loving things, and we're able to do more. And when we have our hormone surges and when we have our PMS, we tend to feed more into the insecure thoughts, more and more into the fear thoughts, more and more into the doubt thoughts, and that is the flip. And that's why a lot of people sometimes think, like, I'm not trying to say that there isn't, and if you are, you are, but just try to think about if it comes around your menstrual cycle as well, because I have noticed that, man, it is quite opposite. Okay, you are one way. For me, I feel like I experience different sides of me for sure, because for the first 10 days, 2 weeks, I'm definitely like all gung-ho and positive and feel a certain way, and then all of a sudden my LH surge and period time hits and I am totally not the same, and I start having major doubts, and there's such a change that you can actually make a completely different decision. Meaning, in those 2 weeks where you are feeling great and centered in who you are, you might make a decision to go after some job, big thing. And then the next 2 weeks come and you are so low and you're like, what am I doing? Do I even, what am I thinking? Like, that's just crazy. I can't do that. And it's a total life changer. I'm not joking about this. It's huge, okay? And then you come down from your PMS and your period, and then you're right back onto it. And not just that, when you get further into studying this kind of stuff and going back into ancient times and seeing a lot of things, they actually tell you to go along, girls especially, they actually tell you to do, if you are connected to the moon cycle with your menstrual cycle, because depending on if you took pills, if you didn't, like birth control, any form of birth control, if you took anything hormonal that changes your cycle, if it's not along with the moon cycle, cool. But if you are natural, or if you are not still along with the moon cycle, they actually say that girls should do their things along with the moon cycle, is because there's certain phases of us where we become more successful, and as things go, we don't. And to me, that has completely to do with energy and our hormonal change and everything, is because those moon cycles affect us too. I mean, that's proven. Moon cycle is proven. I mean, we can see it with the gravity pulling the ocean. It goes low tide, high tide, low tide, high tide. Those are like the waves, okay? That even tells you so much there. Then they also have studies, and hospitals and police and stuff, they put more people on during the full moon, okay? This is studies that I don't know if you can say it's proven or not, because depending on some things, they don't consider it proven. But if authority, like places like the hospital and like policemen, and like they put extra staff on during these times, I think there's something being said about that. So all I'm trying to say is the moon affects things. So the moon does affect us. It really does. And when you start learning about energy and really understanding energy and resonance and vibrance and how much it affects everything, you can start seeing how it does affect us, how everything affects us, and how we decide to deal with that. If we decide to deal with it, if we decide to be conscious about it, and if we decide, yeah, it's all decision, all choice, free will and choice. All right. So I definitely felt that when I gave myself the day to just go through what it is, I had a way better whole experience of everything instead of trying to push through it for the whole time. So that's just my suggestion, and you don't have to. Okay, anything else about period? I actually just think if we're all just more understanding to each other and allow more during things, but this isn't just about period, because I actually think if we just in communication allow more and try to understand and receive, it helps. With my partner at the time, he's actually the one that made me realize more about my period than I ever knew about myself. He's the one that when every month there would be a point, he's like, are you getting your period? Or are you PMSing? And I mean, obviously at first that didn't go well because we're girls and we're like, what do you mean? Like, how can you? And then afterwards you're like, yeah, you were right. It is, because here it is. After many times of that, I started recognizing too, right away when I'm like, ooh, I think it's here. And then we started getting into that and knowing that. And when that happened, I and my partner didn't go through the next step of it being better, but I believe the next step is leeway. I believe it's understanding and leeway, allowing for. Mine was more kind of I believe like he's more of the sympathetic pains kind of person. So I actually used to say to him, like, are you going through your period? Because there are, the guys that also go through that. They say that there's some that go through labor, more so than the girls. So there is that as well. But I do believe just having an open space about that and a discussion. I actually think discussions help everything. I personally think communication helps everything. And so with period as well. I do believe, though, during that day when the girl has your biggest day, so either your first day, second day, whatever it is for you, I just think take the time for yourself, whatever it is for you. Heat pack and movie, like that's what I love. And I love just eating. I mean, it's nice if someone gets you food or cooks for you, but whatever it is, sometimes it is just your thing that you got to go through. So I definitely think allow yourself to have that day. And when I say allow, it means not feeling bad, not stressing about it, no pressure, just go through what you have to go through. If yours is so painful, you cry. If you have those headaches that make you need to sleep all day, just do what you need to do. And honestly, I do find that it changes, meaning that if you're finding that your symptoms have been the same your whole life, then, they have. But personally, I feel like our body, well, I know this, and science is proving it now more and more, and I don't think it's hit mainstream fully yet, but basically we change our DNA, we change our cells, we're new people. I heard we were new people in 11 years, then I heard 7 years, and to be honest, I know we can be new people in a snap, because it's all about our mind frame and what we send the energy for our DNA, for our cells, and we'll talk about that soon. But point being, if you have the same things over and over, yeah, then what you need to go through. But if you go in different ways and things change, allow for it too. It's about getting in touch with yourself and allowing for the change, and not being like, whoa, this is different. I need it to be the same. We get comfortable in the way that we are. And in times, yes, I guess we can be fearful that change is not good. But I'm going to be honest, I actually think usually the change is for the better, because the change allows you to start seeing a difference, to start seeing yourself and, choosing where you wish to go from there. So I just wanted to do this one because I want everyone to know that it is fully normal. Okay, another thing, just for the younger ones, if you made it through all this way, thank you. But my first time, oh man, putting a tampon in, I actually don't use tampons. I just use pads, because for me, it's not, people don't, I know, okay, I have the same thing, and this might not be for everyone, but I feel like girls use tampons and thongs and G-strings and stuff way more for a boy at first. Maybe I know lots of girls who love G-strings and thongs now, and girls who would say they love tampons, and that's fine. But I personally think the first time we do it all is actually for societal reasons. I could be wrong. Maybe you do love it and it's comfortable for you. I don't find it very comfortable. So I remember first time using a tampon, I was in high school, and it was one through the thing in the bathroom, and I guess it was a regular size because it was yellow. And I remember trying to stick that thing in. I only got it in like this far. The rest of it was sticking out of me, okay? And I didn't know how to put it in. I couldn't. I just couldn't. And so I'm sitting in class with this thing sticking like an inch out of me, and I can't sit really. And I had the rest of school to go through it, and I was like barely sitting. That was my experience. What I learned as I got older, because obviously I tried here and there sometimes, but I thought maybe because I'm Asian, I'm really tight, it doesn't work, or maybe I'm really dry. But what I learned is actually those tampons are very absorby. So when you stick that in you, depending which one you do, they can actually be more absorbent than the what you give. So they can actually create cramping in you, and they can also dry you out, and many things. I mean, there's the ones that they say gave people cancer as well. So tons of stuff. Doesn't matter, whatever floats your boat. My point being though that I prefer pads, and I don't like, so girls, when you put yourself through that, like, good on you, congratulations, you know, it's the things that you decide to take on, and for you it's normal and easy, but I just want you to know that everything is something, you know, that we take on extra. So good for you for doing that. I just like to do mine in comfort. So oh yes, cramps. Oh, sorry about those. They suck. What I found helped is before, and I know not everyone has access to this, but so if you don't have a bath, then maybe, yeah, the hot pack, if you have access to that. If not, hands, energy. Point being though, I actually found ways that help me not have so much pain, because, you know, the cramping is from the gravity, right? The blood, and you clenching so hard because you're not wanting to let it go. And the moment we let it go, then we have the flow rather than that cramping from the clenching. So I actually found that baths really helped, and that actually took away a lot of, I don't even really have cramp time anymore. And in truth, even the heat packs, wonderful. Heat packs are wonderful. The aromatherapy heat packs, yeah, whatever helps. So just get to learn yours. I know a lot of girls know theirs, and I actually know a lot of girls don't, they still fight through theirs, and that's why I wanted to do this, is because it's up to you what you want to go through. But there are some things, these are the things that I learned, that we basically only have a week to 10 days where we are ourselves, and then we have a lot of things fighting us, and to just be easy on yourself and learn those patterns. And when you learn them, you're able to get through them better and not be as affected, because you give yourself leeway and kind of stuff. So that's just what I wanted to say. Is this the end all be all, this is the way? No, do what works for you, right? I'm just sharing what I learned and what I found helpful. So love you all, and enjoy your moon cycle. I still don't fully, I get it, but does it really have to be every month? Like, I didn't get why it couldn't be like once every 6 months, or like, you know. But in truth, the reason why I believe it happens is because girls are go, go, go. And if we were our full selves the whole time, we would definitely rule the world, and probably not in a good way. I actually believe that this power allows for girls to have more chill time and have more balance in a lot of things. I'll talk more about that soon, about the balance, because I do believe female and male are the sun and the moon, and I do believe a lot of energy things that I'll be sharing about this too. And so I do appreciate these times, I get it, but at the same time, it takes a lot of getting to know yourself through these surges and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, loving yourself is key, being gentle. All right, love you all. Enjoy your PMS. So fun, right? So fun. Peace, man, scout. So I used to say that when I said it when I was young, because my sister wanted us to guess what PMS stood for, and I was like, peace, man, scout, because to me, I wanted to leave. I didn't want it. Anyways, love you all. Mwah.